we're back at it again. More Bricky for you guys, obviously, and me, because I'm loving this series. Let me tell you, this has been so much fun watching this, just trying to get like as much information as I possibly can out of this. Um, just trying to absorb all of it. He does an amazing job of it. And I appreciate all the comments you guys are leaving, all the likes and everything. That's awesome. Thank you for all the support on this. I am I'm so just in awe still of Bricky and how just rapid fire he goes into this, and like his knowledge is so awesome. And I know that everybody else has great knowledge too. All of you have been super helpful, just trying to bring me back up to speed and all this stuff. And not like I was ever really in it, but like it's been a long time since I've even thought about Warhammer. Um, look at that. Look at that smiling man.
Do you like gigantic walkers the size of homes or medium-sized buildings? Do you want to kill heretics, but you want to kill like 40 of them per turn? Do you want a gigantic old school knight noble house style of walkers with giant chainsaw arms? Then you got Imperial Knights. Imperial Knights, it's not a whole lot to talk about them because they're just gigantic walkers, but they have this old school, like, house feel to them. Like, literally, like they're houses. Each Imperial Knight comes from a house, and each of them act in their own special way. These behemoth of walkers also destroy almost everything in their path, killing full swaths of squads in a couple shots, stepping on legions of troops. Like, these things do not mess around, and they look so cool. Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights, actually, for that matter, don't have a whole lot to discuss. They're just super big, heavy walkers, and they look different depending on your house or Chaos God you currently believe in. And overall, these things are just really cool if you want to murder everything in your path. They're the big, scary, big unit of Warhammer, and if you want to collect them, go to town. They make for a great painting project, too. Game over back down to Earth. Let's talk something about.
So those were really cool. How big those mechs would it be considered a mech? Because that's really what it is, right? There's a pilot, there's a guy in there moving that giant robot around, right? I don't really know. He didn't get into detail, but it seems pretty cool. Almost like kaiju just fighting each other. Big, scary robots, like Pacific Rim. That's the movie I'm thinking of. Kind of like a Pacific Rim kind of thing. Maybe that's where they got that from. Because this is a very long game. It's been going for a long time. I don't know. Maybe you can let me know in the comments if I'm right or onto something.
A little bit different, a little more gold.
Ooh. So before we get into this, I know that there has been some drama with this whole thing. We're not going to get into that in this video. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I don't really know where to go with that. So we're going to leave it here. You guys can leave your feelings on this as well in the comments on how you feel about this crazy um, controversy, as it were, or as it is, from Games Workshop. I know baseline stuff. I've been actively trying to avoid watching those videos because now that we're doing this and we're going through all this Warhammer stuff, it's popping up in my feed a lot. So I've been actively avoiding it to not, one, piss off the community that I'm actively trying to join. Two, I don't want to make anybody feel a way about it. Okay. And if you do leave a comment about any of this stuff, let's just keep it civil, however it has to go. If you even want to comment, if you don't, that's fine. Um, I understand there's some craziness. Like I said, I don't know the whole thing on that, but let's keep the comment section. If you guys start going off on it, let's keep it civil, okay? Just because I know that this is a big thing. A lot of people are crazy, maybe not crazy, but hurt by some of the actions. That's it. We're gonna leave it there, okay?
If guardsmen are regular soldiers, Space Marines are super soldiers. Grey Knights are super soldiers. The Adeptus
Look at his pants. I'm sorry for pausing it. He's got gold pants on. uh,
Custodes are super soldiers cubed. The Adeptus Custodes are the third major army I own. I know, 3 armies. I know, I got carried away, okay? But that's all. I only have 3, okay?
might be a problem,
They are
maybe.
our final brand of Space Marines, but these ones are super special. Okay, if a guardsman is 6 foot, a Space Marine is 7 feet, a custodian is 8 feet. These are the giant defenders of Holy Terra, which is also Earth. Earth is Terra. Earth Terra themselves. These are the people that literally guard the Emperor's throne room. Hence, Custodes. These boys protect the Emperor's throne room at all times and are literally like handcrafted people. They're not humans brought up by a gene seer or something. These are all handcrafted super soldiers. I think from a tube. These behemoth of men are like 8 feet, 8.5 feet tall, and functionally immortal. They stand still, spear in hand, for hundreds of years without the need to sleep and barely even the need to eat, watching over the throne room and every other area of Holy Terra for their entire purpose in life. And oh my lord, are they terrifying. These custodians put Space Marines to shame. If you liked your super soldiers, these are your super mega soldiers. One of these men can take on probably 3 Space Marines and most likely win. There are many different groups of custodians.
So they can take on 3 Space Marines and more than likely win. So I know they kind of, I don't remember if he actually went into this. Maybe he did. Um, so these guys are specifically created for one purpose, test tube babies, as it were, right? And then the Space Marines are recruited in from their home planet, but these people don't have like a home planet. They're made. If am I getting that right? I don't even know. Seems like kind of what he's going on at. Um, so they're so badass they can take down Space Marines. Why not have a bunch of these guys instead of Space Marines? That would probably be overkill, right? I don't know. Just questions I'm asking.
As well, like the Solar Watch, or there's also one of my personal favorite, the Aquilin Shield. The Aquilin Shield go out to seemingly unimportant individuals and protect them because they believe that they are going to be doing something very important in their lives. For instance, let's say a regular guardsman gets the protection of this giant 8.5 foot tall golden god because that guardsman will end up becoming a general one day or something of that nature. The custodians work in mysterious ways and are almost always outnumbered but never outmatched. These people are pretty horrifying.
That artwork is fire. That's straight fire. Look at how badass they look.
Both on the tabletop as well as in the lore. There are very few of them, however, and there's actually an extremely small amount of them. But that's kind of the point. There's only so many of these people that can have war gear this strong, weapons this powerful, and training this good. And the custodians have all 3 of it. For 100 years, I stood my watch amidst the somber shadows of the Sanctum Imperialis. I was still as a statue, but always ready, always attuned to dangers unseen. Days, months, years passed by in a frenzied blur beyond those walls, yet within little moved and nothing changed. For 100 years I did not but wait, yet had any threat appeared, I would have struck it down in a heartbeat. For 100 years I stood my watch, and as it ends I can tell you this: patience is a weapon. The custodians are
That's
the top
badass.
dogs of the Imperium, and they hurt just that same way. Though I do want to discuss a little bit about the Sisters of Silence before we get out of here, because the Sisters of Silence I also have a few of, and they're really fun, but they don't get enough attention. These kind of bald plume ladies are a whole group of pariahs, or also known as blanks. We'll be referring to them as blanks from now on. So as every mind is somewhat connected to the warp, these blanks are a genetic mutation that has it suppressed heavily. Because of that
Oh,
mind suppression, normal people feel this weird, like, uncomfortable nature when around them. When a Sister of Silence walks past them, you feel ill. You feel just uncomfortable and strange. So most of them don't actually live past childhood because once they are birthed, they're, well, killed or something at a very young age because they just emit a horrifying aura. These ladies, however, are guardians of the throne as well for more psychic threats. See, none of the custodians are psychers, so they have a difficult time dealing with major demons and other
Oh,
kinds of psychic phenomena. These sisters are extremely specialized in it. All
so that would make sense to have something so strong, big, the the custodians, I guess, right? So big, strong, handle most threats easily. But then because the Emperor is a psyker, what did Bricky say? He's the big boy psyker, right? He said that earlier in another video, or mine anyway. Anyway, so he's the big boy psyker. In order to keep him safe from warp, chaos, psyker attacks, then you would need these women, the Sisters of Silence, to take care of that, right? It only makes sense to double up on the protections, especially for a psyker as big and powerful as the Emperor, even though he is essentially just dead in a throne, right? Or half dead in a throne. Makes sense because you need him alive to travel the warp to from wherever you're going if you're going to do warp travel at all, right? Makes sense.
of them taking a vow of silence as they don't speak, hence the term Sisters of Silence, but they communicate through hand gestures and things of that nature.
Sign
But if there's a
language.
demon issue, if there's any kind of warp-based problem, the sisters are extremely adept at dealing with them, thanks to their blank gene. They normally work a lot of time with the custodians because they have to deal with both kinds of threats, but they're not represented that way on the tabletop. In fact, they only have like one real model for them, which is very unfortunate. I hope they'll get some like news soon because I think they should really be working together as it is that way in the lore, but hopefully we'll get there soon. But if we're talking about blanks, let's talk assassins.
Ooh.
It's been a long video. We're about to round it out. We got this and one more human thing, and then we're done. The
Whoa.
assassins, though, the Officio Assassinorum, oh boy, these people are deadly. Yeah, they're called assassins. They should be, but oh
Right.
man, these people will mess you up. So these are from the Officio Assassinorum, a very special organization, and they are handpicked by the Grand Master of the Officio Assassinorum from the what was it called? Scola Progenium.
Even Bricky's having trouble keeping all this stuff going. So he had to look at his notes. That's awesome. It just shows that, you could be as well prepared as you want to be for some of this stuff, but you need to jump in with some notes occasionally because this is a lot. I should have been taking notes. I really should have. This is a lot.
It's basically an orphan school. Your parents got murdered by demons or something. You get sent to this and you get trained to be whatever. Tempestus drop troop, an inquisitor, maybe even. Maybe you get a blank gene and you get thrown into the Sisters of Silence, or sometimes you just disappear. When you are taken, however, you go to one of 4 temples because the Assassinorum works in the temple style of things. These temples are the Vindicare, Caluxus, Calidus, and Eversor temples. Let's start with the Vindicare. I'm far away. I've been sitting here for 3 weeks. The Vindicare Temple is the main sniper-based temple. Gigantic sniper rifles for all these assassins. Their whole point is to be able to be in a spot and sit there, eye and scope, for weeks, waiting for their perfect target, taking people out from literal miles away after extremely long time periods. The Vindicare Temple is about precise, perfect aim. There have been reports of Vindicares being able to single out particular body parts from over 2-3 miles away. Temples in the head, the jugular, for instance, and been sitting there after weeks. And when they're ready, take that shot, time is done, packs them up. The Calidus Temple, however, is a lot more about shape-shifting and deviant art. It's mostly a
DeviantArt. Well, I could see kind of what's happening. Why? that might be a thing.
female-based one, or at least it seems to be, and this allows a lot of body augmentation for certain individuals to be able to kind of transmorph.
I'm still in awe about the last one, right? So he has to sit somewhere for 3 weeks waiting with his eye and the scope, just waiting for the perfect shot. I can barely sit for like 5 minutes without getting antsy and gotten to squirm and move. I have ADHD, by the way. So sitting for that long would drive me nuts. I get annoyed if I don't have anything going on, you know, rapid fire something else to do, unless it's bedtime, right? I don't
Themselves
know.
and infiltrate areas that are problems. These assassins will end up taking missions that take them years, 2, 3 years, to infiltrate a heretical group and slowly work their way up just to get enough time to put a bullet into the main target's head and then escape unharmed. Or become the main target and sabotage it from within.
Yeah.
These are all completely about deception, mind tricks, polymorphing, and everything in between. And lots of drawings. Lots of
Okay.
drawings.
Yeah.
Every
Some booty cheeks on the screen. Uh, so they can go in, take over, and kind of just tear everything down from inside. That's pretty cool. Even with the cheeks clapping, that's a pretty cool skill, right? I don't know. I find that super interesting that it's almost like they're spies, right? They're spies that go in, create a whole bunch of havoc all over the place, or just get one person dead, then the whole thing falls. That's pretty cool.
Eversor Temple. Just kind of disturbing one. The Eversor Temple is about when you don't want anything to come back alive, friend or foe. You want
Yeah.
it all dead. An Eversor is psychogenically conditioned with just psychotherapy and psychological torture to only feel violence, hatred, and anger. It does the Clockwork
Ugh.
Orange style of thing of just making you forced to watch never-ending pain and misery and psycho conditioning, I guess is the term. And then they pump you full of tons of psychedelic drugs and they cryo freeze you. And then they drop you in an area where they just want to make sure everything is dead. And then you defrost full of just all this insane, mind-boggling psychotherapy and psychedelic drugs, and you just go to town. Yeah, if you don't care if anyone comes back alive. You're like, all right, lost cause, send them in. Finally, there's the most bizarre temple, the
Wow.
Caluxus Temple. The Caluxus assassins are feared even among the other temples. So that blank gene, the people will go to the Caluxus Temple with this as well. And this is where they can harness that to be massively anti-psyker or even just anti-regular people. They are seen
Oh,
with extreme fear and distrust among many,
wow.
many people. They are described by the Eldar by quote as being pure evil. Imagine that uncomfortable feeling from that blank gene I mentioned, and then imagine them being taught and given equipment to amplify it by 100. If normally regular people feel uncomfortable, now they are basically akin to being a siren wailing directly in your ear. And if you're a psyker, oh no. The sheer
Oh no.
presence of a Caluxus assassin is enough for you to tear your skin off. You will rather gouge your eyes out and rip your nails off than even being near this person. The Caluxus assassin is when
Wow.
you want psychers to literally lose their minds, and they will go on their knees and ask you to gun them down because it is a suitable choice over being anywhere near you. The motto of that
Whoa.
temple is that which is unknown and unseen commands the greatest fear. Now, for the tabletop, the
Just think about that for a second. Being near, I've been near some people that I've not been happy to be around, but like so freaked out, pissed off, scared that you want to rip your nails off, rip your skin off in your eyes, just being around somebody, just and then begging for essentially death. That's crazy. That is a crazy. I didn't realize that the assassins in this thing were nuts. Everything in this game is nuts. Is there anything normal except for like the regular Imperial Guard? Even they've got crazy weaponry. That's so cool. Oh man. Like everything is like overpowered as hell.
Assassins aren't that special. You can call them in no matter what Imperium faction you are, and they do a lot of work for themselves, but at the same time, they're very specialized and require a lot of finesse. And they work the way you generally want them to, though. You want to cause some distortion and weird stuff, you take a Calidus. You want to just murder swaths of infantry and then blow up Eversor. You want to kill that one guy, Vindicare, and if you have a lot of Psychers, Caluxus. It's a nice little, like, jack of all trades if you have a specific thing you want to kill. And you get to choose which is really fun.
No.
But now, let's talk about the last human faction. We can round this video out before we do part 2. The Inquisition. We have a lot to talk about with them. On the subject of heresy. Oh boy. Where do I even begin with the Inquisition? Take every secret police you can think of.
So I know about the Inquisition. I know about what is that book? It's by Dan Abnett. Abnett? Whatever. That gentleman. Eisenhorn. I read that too. I only read the one. A buddy of mine was saying just because this is what you should get into if you want to play these games, you should know. So like the RTSs. I was like, all right, whatever. I read that. That was awesome. That was an amazing book. That's what started me on the Horus Heresy, trying to get that going. Like I said, I didn't get very far into that, but that's legit too. That book was legit. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I needed to know about that or try to remember about that. I guess not. Let's keep going.
The KGB, the Gestapo, the CIA, FBI, any of these kinds of people. And then mark it up by about 10 and give them the most power in the entire Imperium. No, you know what? How about this? This right here, it's not just a quote. This is the imperial motto, the motto of the Inquisition. I apologize for my bad pronunciation. Innocentia nihil probat. Innocence proves nothing. The most powerful organization in the Imperium, the secret police, their number one motto is innocence proves nothing. The Inquisition goes around like the secret police or like detectives to find issues in the Imperium. And they have different ordos depending on which one we're talking about. The Ordo Hereticus, the Ordo Xenos, the Ordo Malleus, for instance, and a whole bunch of other ones. Hereticus is obvious. They deal with heretics. Xenos.
Yeah, I think that's what Eisenhorn was the heretics one. I didn't know they had that many different factions in between just the damn Inquisition. How many different factions do you need?
Tries to find alien threats, and Malleus is demons. They all have different.
There he is. There he is. That's the guy. I'm almost positive he's after the heretics. That was that book was so fucking good. I can't even wrap my head around it. I really wish I still had that. I gave it back to him. I might have to get a copy of that still.
In what they're trying to go for as this Inquisitor. And that's what they're called, Inquisitors. Each of them, as an Inquisitor, has their own free reign to do as they wish. They may have a ship and a crew, and they go out to find problems and interrogate people a lot. They are above the law in every department over Space Marines.
Yeah, now, they pretty much are the law. Even Space Marines are like, they don't want to fuck with them at all, if I remember right.
Might argue against them and stuff, and there might be a lot of blowback, but technically they are above them as Inquisitors. They are looking to investigate and figure out coups and cults and demonic incursions and possible Xenos issues like gene stealers or
he's on that
threat coming into an area. They're about learning that stuff and actually doing detective work. And memes aside, they're pretty good at it. The Inquisition having all of this power does make them a little bit power hungry and frantic sometimes.
Yeah.
And yes, it is still a bad thing, but most of them are pretty good at their job. And they spend
our work is fire.
Very diligent to make sure that all of these leads they follow are proper and correct. They're basically space detectives with just enormous power
Yeah.
and sometimes a bit of a power complex. And we haven't even talked about Exterminatus yet. Exterminatus.
Oh.
Exterminatus is deeming a planet unfit to be saved. I deem that this planet is demon infested and taking it back will cost too many resources and is not worth it. I have now committed Exterminatus on this planet. I will now sign the death warrant of an entire Imperium planet as it is unfit to take and better to be destroyed than allow the enemy to hold it. This can mean saturation bombardment. This can mean cracking the planet's core and breaking it apart. Doesn't matter. Render this planet inhospitable to all life. Yes, the innocents proves nothing people are the only people who can choose this planet must die in its entirety. Yeah, you're playing the villain. Now it is memed a lot, but most Inquisitors are very rare to do Exterminatus. Exterminatus is a very crazy thing. There's only so many worlds that you don't want to destroy all of them. Now, naturally, with the memes aside, there are some people who are a little bit rough on this one. But most Inquisitors generally don't like to do Exterminatus a ton, but it is an option they have. And it's a crazy option when you think about it. Secret Police Inquisition are unfortunately not represented on the tabletop very much. You generally kind of put one in your army if you feel like it. You have a couple special options there and some side content, but they're not really fleshed out very well, and personally they need a lot more stuff put in there, and they really need a lot more effort put into them, and they're not quite where I want them to be. Overall, the Inquisition makes for a lot of the best storytelling as well.
That artwork is just fire. Every piece of art that I've seen, even fan-made stuff, fucking phenomenal.
Because it's a little bit hard to talk about a big story of a whole bunch of Space Marines killing something, right? It's just a big battle story.
Yeah, it's pretty much
having that intrigue and that moral dilemma that an Inquisitor has makes for a lot better media. And honestly, the more people do it, I think it's better, because then it adds a little more humanity to the Warhammer horrible, horrible grim darkness. And wow, we just finished the humans. All right, come back for part 2 when we talk about Chaos and Xenos, because we got to talk about the 4 Chaos gods and all the Chaos Marine legions and the Tau and the Necrons and the Orcs, and oh boy, we got a lot. I'll see you in part 2.
Thanks, Bricky. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oops. Well, let's put me back on screen. Let's take that off. Let's grab me. I have no idea if I'm centered. If I'm not, I'm sorry. Put this right here. Yeah. All right. We're good. Holy shit. Oh, wow. Wow. That was a lot. Bricky, still the man, thank you so much for doing that whole video. That was awesome for new players trying to get into it. Amazing. The people writing for, Warhammer, they're going to focus more on the humans because we are humans. Not that they won't do alien stories, but I think that's why the humans are like really fleshed out in this whole thing. Just there's so many different factions. You got the Imperial Guard, the Space Marines, the Custodes, the Sisters of Battle, the Sisters of Silence, the Titans, and all the way up to the Assassins and the Inquisitors. That's a lot for just the Imperium, right? We'll see what else, Bricky has for us in the next one. Obviously, that'll be fun. But that was insane. That was an amazing amount of detail. And just how many different it's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, I have rambled on long enough. I appreciate you watching. If you made it this far, you're awesome. Please hit the like button, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You have a fantastic day, and I will be back with more Warhammer stuff really soon. Catch you in the next one.